All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Dean Andrews. I'm Head of Developer Relations at InterSystems. We hold programming contests regularly throughout each year. And this webinar is for the winners of our latest contest, the Developer Tools Contest of 2024. We had 17 amazing applications. Thank you all for those who submitted. And this meeting here is so that we can have some of the demos of the winners. You can see all the results on this page in our InterSystems developer community and dive into the details for yourselves. And we encourage you to do that. We will start with the fifth place. And so actually both third and fifth place were won by John Murray. So John, if you're here, you can go ahead and do two quick demos. We do ask that the demos are 5 minutes in length because we do have several to get through, but please take it away, John.
Thanks, Dean. I am very pleased to demo a couple of features here. Let's get my the right screen up on the share and see what happens. So okay, so I'd like to show you the package manager extension for VS Code. Both my entries were in the VS Code extension domain. The package manager extension adds into the InterSystems view of your environments a new button on here. So if you're working on the server-side model, you find it by browsing into your server tree and choosing the package manager button there. If you're working client-side, you can go find it under your Explorer view here, and similarly, a package manager button appears here. They both have the same effect. You click the button, it launches a view on the extension, which consists of two collapsible trees, the top one being all the available packages, in this case on the community package registry, 439 of them there. So I can go down on here and find a package I'd like to install. I'm going to show ZPM Shields as a fairly simple example package. Hit the checkbox, the radio button rather, click the install. Yeah, so I chose the package. It's run the command on the server that I opened this tab for. It's run the ZPM commands. I can run arbitrary ZPM commands here. For example, like that. I can go back in here, see the package I installed. And perform other operations on it. For example, if I want to update it, if there's a newer version, I can run the install command. I can find it in the registries, list any dependents that it has. This one has no dependents. I could do a reinstall or I could do an uninstall. And after uninstalling there, we have no packages in the namespace any longer. So it's a convenient way of interacting with your packages without having to issue command lines, but you can issue the command lines here if you need to. It's effectively a ZPM prompt. So that was one entry. The other entry was an updated version of the DX Jetpack. There are 3 key features that I added in there. And again, I'll show you them on the InterSystems Explorer here. One is what's called add a studio style folder set. So if you choose your namespace, click this button, we will get over on our workspace here. Actually, it's going to be clearer if I just close this down. Workspace. This then gives you the Swagger UI view of APIs that are being published by this server. So, for example, if I want to go and take a look at the maybe the Atelier API and go into get information about the servers. Try it out. Execute. So there's the output. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. And I hope it's making sense.
All right. Thank you very much, John. Any questions, Benjamin, Evgeny? All right. Thank you very much. Let's move ahead with fourth place, Chi and I believe Nathan, iris-ccd-devtools app.
Yes, hello. So let me share my screen here. All right, so are you looking at the app?
Yes. Yes.
Right, so just a little intro. This was our first time entering a contest, and so we are from Lead North, and we come from the interoperability side of the family, and I've been working in health interoperability for about 25 years, with InterSystems for about 14 of those, and Nathan is another member of our team. He has a background in full stack development training, and also is one of our implementers. And so the use case for this problem was that we have a team and we're working with CCD integrations, and within the Iris for Health packages or Iris for Health install, there's actually quite a lot of functionality within the project itself. I always say that the base transforms and the utilities will take you, 80 to 85% of the way, and it's that last mile that integrators are always trying to kind of work through. And so the use cases, as we are training customers on CCD integrations, as we're training newer developers, one of the challenges is just visibility into what are the capabilities of Iris, and these dev tools are trying to expose those and also map to what is the learning process and the implementation process that implementers go through. So this is the front end here, and then there's also the management portal from the back end. But the idea is for users to interact with this application or this UI. And so there's an XPath evaluator, and the first step typically is when you are going in and inspecting a CCD, what are the things that are important to look for? And right here, there's a set of predefined paths, and this is actually mapped to kind of the first step of any of your data profiling, which is how do you identify the incoming sending facility or OIDs? And if you notice, right here, we've for this first build, we've hard coded, pre-configured these paths, but the idea is this could be eventually dynamically generated from what's within the SDA annotations. But right now, there's multiple paths, for instance, for a sending facility, and this is actually mapped to the precedence of how the base code in Iris looks for the sending facility. So there's a lot of conditional logic in CCD processing, and one of the learning curves is how do you know where it's looking and what are the alternates. So to show how this works, I'll just pick, just starting with 1, and then you can upload. You can also paste, but I will upload a sample kind of anonymized CCD from all scripts there, and then click submit. And when you click submit, it runs through the backend code in Iris and gives you, what that utility would have found. One of the benefits is this XPath is the correct sort of namespace and syntax and everything that will match up with Iris. A lot of times when you're trying to use an external package to Iris to try to test XPaths, it may not have all the same settings and context as we'll have in Iris. And then there's a disconnect between the developer having identified XPaths, but it doesn't necessarily match up with what's being found when they apply it within the product. And so this is removing that disconnect, so you see exactly what XPath will work against the CCD. And then it found no result there. And then the thought is, well, if I continue to sort of check, there's no result in the second path either, and the third path. When I do that, it does find that there's a value 3 for the sending facility. Now that may not mean much to the facility, to the implementer, right? But that is what the code is expecting as sort of the highest precedence with this input data. I'm just going to show the next, right? Even though I found 1, I will pick another one, 4. And then for that one, it found another sending facility. And so in order of precedence, the code is going to find this one next. So again, the purpose of this XPath evaluator is, 1, to allow you to test a valid XPath against what Iris is interpreting, and also to sort of teach or guide a little bit in terms of the underlying base code as well and what it does. So I keep on talking about the base code. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next section here, and that's the CCDA to SDA transforms. These are, I call them the main transforms. So these are all packaged within Iris, and so without any additional mapping, this is what you get out of the box from Iris. But it's not always immediately clear how you access that, and so there's a viewer option, right? So you can kind of pretty print what's happening in, but this is your input document, and when you click submit here, what you get is it's run through the Iris transforms for CCDA version 2.1 to SDA, and then you can view, and this is our current pretty print, our first version, but you can view what the output is. And then if I scroll down to bottom here, so one of the challenges again is these XML documents are really complex, and then kind of like when people are learning, it might be hard to kind of figure out what's going on. So the tool is also giving them a little bit of an advantage there. But if we look at the sending facility, it says sending facility 3. And so that kind of maps to what we saw in the XPath, and it's not necessarily, that's not necessarily what we want. And so the job now of the implementer is to call that out, figure out what the value should be, and perhaps map or transform in order to make that reasonable for data ingestion. And so that's what this next section is helping or supporting, is typically the work of transformation. Because the code base is pretty extensive, the work of transformation is just to test modular templates to be able to identify or to be able to clean or normalize small portions of the incoming CCD, so it maps to what you're hoping to get on the SDA side. And so in order to isolate that test, the idea is this is sort of a suite of tools that can be used together. So just an example would be, we found that sending facility 3 is coming in, and it's a value that's not reasonable to us, right? So we might want to test a template for, if I have that input data from all scripts, and here's an example of a template here. And in the future, we want to make it a little easier to kind of enter templates and save templates. But for this case, I'll just follow that model and type one up. But the idea is, again, you can paste a template in there, and then we're only trying to test this one transform. And so this is saying if you find a match against that extension and do nothing, which means remove that extension value. And this template will be combined with the identity template so that we're just testing this one transform. And so when I click submit here, it's only testing this template against this input. And then again, if I check for oh, sorry, this is actually not the SDA. This is the output CCD from just that one transform. And I'm gonna put the viewer here. And so I think one of the challenges we find is just having the domain knowledge to know where all this is. So you can kind of see I've been doing this a little bit, right? So I know where to look, but the idea is, well, did we remove the the assigning authority as it was coming, or sorry, the represented organization value as it was coming in? And these tools give us kind of a little bit of a lead in and hints to be able to find that. So the idea is this represented organization and ID extension was the sort of target or the problem. And so if we find it here, right, and the idea was it came in with this ID extension 3, but when we look on the outbound side now, and hopefully this will up a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, so on the outbound side, it's been removed. So that extension value of 3 is gone. And now the transforms, right, will use the next value down the line, which is this name here, the primary care partners. So that's sort of a quick demo through the 3 functions we have so far, with the goal of giving some visibility for implementers working with CCD.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chi and Nathan. Thank you also for joining in our contest. We absolutely celebrate first-timers joining in and encourage others to do so as well. Just a quick tour. Any comments, thoughts from the product manager team at InterSystems? All right.
I just want to. I just have one comment that Chi. Thanks for doing that. I think this is a great example, along with what John introduced. It's a great example of developer tools that we are excited to see that helps developers to be more productive. Especially like with transformations. This is the bread and butter of a lot of developers in InterSystems, the dev ecosystem. So great debut. Yeah, thank you.
And just a quick other note about newcomers is that there's a bonus structure in our evaluation process for newcomers, so that also will hopefully encourage others to join. All right, moving on. Second place, I believe Jose and team are not here in this webinar, but that we might have a video demo to show. Is that correct? I'm going to ask the operations team.
Hello, we want to introduce our application, the SQL embedding tool, which lets you embed text directly from SQL. The Musketeers Brazil team created this tool, and you're welcome to help us improve it by asking anything or making pull requests. Let's start by recapping InterSystems' current suggested way to handle text embedding. This example was adapted from InterSystem documentation. First, you must create or use an external Python function that loads an embedding library, gets one or more strings, and returns their embeddings. Then, once you have your embedding vectors, you can issue a SQL statement passing your embeddings as an argument to be parsed by the SQL function vector. But if you have to just use school for some reason, our application allows people who need or just want to skip the Python step and use just plain SQL. Of course, you keep using Python, but now under the hood, directly from SQL. Our application can be accessed by the SQL function dc.embedding. Its first parameter is the text you need to generate its embeddings. The second one is an identifier for the embedding provider, the Python lib, and the model name recognized by this provider. So it allows you to use different embedding providers. Currently, it allows using models from Spacey, Fastened, OpenAI, and Sentences Transformers. If you are interested into another provider, please let us know. Also, as an open source project, contributions are very welcome. In summary, it's another way to use embedding with SQL in addition to the currents. We can take advantages in creating a function to centralize handling text embeddings. One of them is manage cache for embeddings. Let's check out it in action. Here, we can see that the model took 1.5 seconds to return the embeddings for a string. Then, we re-executed the same query, but this time, the same query took only 0.9 seconds thanks to the cache. The cache implementation is straightforward. It's just a table. You can use SQL to operate on it, such as cache and validation. In addition to the cache functionality, some other helpful features for handling embeddings could be implemented, such as give more power to cache engine using local embeddings to search for similarity instead of exact match. This could help to reduce the costs and latency. Some embedding model has better performance in certain domains than others. You can create a custom provider to mix models based on heuristics. You can implement a tracking engine based on the provider being used. This could help to track billing and where imagination takes you. As we said early, this tool is another tool to help you use in vector search. But as always, there is no silver bullet. So, this tool has some limitation regarding speed. The first execution of each provider or model leads to an import, and such operation is expensive and can take a few seconds, but the next call will not suffer that and will execute way faster. The embedding libs generally provide a method to process an array of strings. This leads to fast execution in bulk operations. However, we process one string for each function call so far, so our tool currently is slower than the version using Python directly. It's demo time. And it's all for today. Hope you enjoyed and found this tool suitable for your needs. If you have any question or suggestion, please reach out.
Okay. Very cool. Interesting.
Maybe we can't ask questions.
Yes, yes.
I was curious whether they read our roadmap. In 24.3, we'll be releasing something that looks very much like this as a core part of the iris vector search capability. So for those of you who are interested and not already part of the early access program for vector search, please enroll, and you'll get access to a preview kit that includes the embedding data type, as we call it, and that has a function that looks very much like what the Brazilian Musketeers just showed us.
Excellent. Thank you, Benjamin. Yes, we encourage all developers to join in our early access programs, of which there are several. Awesome. And then one thing that struck me watching the demo was definitely cool, but also how AI narration has trouble with the pronunciation of cache and lives. All right. Excellent. So without further ado, let's jump to the first place winner, Dmitry, with a demo of the iterm. Take it away, Dmitry.
Hey everyone. It's glad to be back online. It's a bit late here, but I manage it. Okay, so I made. Let's start sharing. Made a project, name it iterm. Can you see my screen? Yep.
Yes.
So we already have a project named Web Terminal, which I used in some places, and I found some troubles, some issues with it. Some of them is like it's issue with accessing to shell. Sometime when you have closed environment on the web available, it's would be easy to have access to shell, Linux shell as well, using web terminal, but web terminal doesn't allow it. Now also some issues with when it's running in AWS works not good with WebSockets, and web terminal always trying to reconnect it. It's a bit annoying. Another issue was yeah, it's probably just a bit outdated. It wasn't in development for quite a while, and just wanted to have something bigger, more powerful. Yeah, one more thing is about authorization. Basic authorization in WebTerminal just not as handy as plain visible login screen. So I made a new terminal based on Xterm.js, very popular, used in many different projects, including VS Code itself. And for me, it looked very good. And I tried to implement it for Iris with a few tricks from Python. It was so what I wanted is to implement a real Iris terminal, not like web terminal or terminal light introduced recently for VS Code. Just wanted a real terminal which will give the full access to terminal. And I needed to use few tricks from Python to do so. So it's just executes in a parallel process. It uses inter-process communication through TTI, so we can pass input, output out and from terminal. Unfortunately, so I wanted to use latest feature WSGI in Iris, but it doesn't support WebSockets yet, as far as I hope. So I didn't manage to use full power. So I had to implement WebSockets, wrapper around Python stuff on a just a plain object script, and it working. So yeah, and I got this. This is running terminal. I put in a project a few tools just to demonstrate like how it's working. So it works with coloring, with pseudographics and so on. I took it from here. It's the same, like displaying a bit different, but almost the same. And some old tool I found on internet ages ago. It's a clock, binary clock, which demonstrate positioning in terminal. So it's working here quite well, and I can quit from it. Yeah, I wanted to demonstrate login screen, so I'll go to incognito mode. It's just ordinary login screen where I can put my login and even logins as username into there. As part of this project, I wanted to implement even more advanced terminal based on the project I did before, iris-SQL CLI. Unfortunately, it's quite tricky to have a wrapper around the original terminal, but I hope I will manage to do it. So I have it in a project. You can see this code there, but it's not finished yet. But I hope I will manage to do it, to finish it, and we will have like the same as previous web terminal functionality, but even better with more function in a web as well. So I hope you like it. I see you like it by bots. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dmitry. Any thoughts, questions from product management team? All right.
Yeah, may I share some quick questions? Yes, or comments. How many years it took, Dima, like to introduce a real web terminal? Yes, so congratulations for introducing it finally. And and as I see, we finally, like, it became possible when we made Python available in Iris. Yeah, so it's really great to see. And of course, we want maybe more those who got used to web terminal, and actually there are more than 1,000 installations every month. So there's a lot of syntax sugar in web terminal, and there are a lot of handy features. So of course, these folks will appreciate you add this it into iterm. Yeah, it's called iterm now. Congratulations! So it's really it's for a lot of people, maybe this will be a game changer.
Yeah.
All right. Again, thank you all for joining. Congratulations to all of the winners. If you're watching this recording and interested in joining along, please browse community.intersystems.com. That's our InterSystems developer community. You'll find a list of all of our events where you can join us in person around the world, our programming contest where you can participate here as well. And also here as of October 2024, we are relaunching our gamification platform called Global Masters, where you can participate in challenges and get rewarded for doing that. So please check out all of those activities, and thank you again for joining in with innovating on our InterSystems technology. See you all again soon. Thank you for joining.